From 1971 to 1997, the Congo, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, was known as Zaire. In May 1997, an opposition movement called the Alliance of Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Congo-Zaire took over the country. The name was changed to the Democratic Republic of Congo. Warning: the images and descriptions of these events are disturbing. In this video, we look in depth at the events at Shabunda, one of several locations in the Kivus where MSF teams witnessed mass graves and evidence of alliance killings. When the First Congo War broke out in 1996, the Alliance of Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Congo-Zaire repeatedly denied MSF and other humanitarian organisations access to eastern Zaire's Kivu region. The ADFL, also known as the Alliance, indiscriminately hunted and killed Rwandan refugees and Zaireans displaced by the fighting, whom they deemed Interahamwe, or Hutu genociders. In this hunt, the Alliance attacked refugee camps in the Kivus, forcing hundreds of thousands of refugees to flee into Zaire's thick forests. On the 26th of November 1996, Reuters reporters told the MSF emergency team in South Kivu about mass graves in the region. The team visited the graves and met a dozen wounded survivors from an Alliance massacre at a former displaced persons camp in Chimanga, where MSF and others had worked. It was here that MSF first realised that the Alliance was using aid organisations as bait. MSF wanted to denounce the Alliance, but 5,000 refugees re-emerged from the forest, so MSF and others withdrew their decision so they could first administer aid. However, MSF Holland's Humanitarian Affairs Department delivered the Chimanga survivors' statement to Amnesty International, confidentially. In mid-December 1996, 38,000 refugees emerged from the forest around the town of Shabunda in South Kivu province. They walked for weeks, fleeing one refugee camp after the other, ahead of the westward tracking Alliance forces. The ICRC asked MSF to assist in Shabunda. MSF attempted to support Shabunda, but insecurity and resupply problems forced their withdrawal. MSF was not allowed back for a month, when the makeshift Shabunda camp population climbed to 60,000. With only canoe access and constant Alliance blockades, aid delivery was nearly impossible. On the 3rd of February 1997, the Rwandan ambassador to the UN announced that there were no more refugees left in Zaire. Only 40,000 they considered Interahamwe and their families. Everyone else was repatriated. On the 4th of February, local Zairean authorities reported that around 40,000 Hutu refugees and 7,000 Zaireans fled Shabunda after hearing that Alliance forces took a nearby town. No one knew where they went. On the 7th of February, UNHCR called for safe passage zones to be opened so that refugees from Tingi-Tingi, Amisi and those who fled Shabunda could be repatriated to Rwanda. On the 12th of February, a delegation representing CARE, Oxfam, ICRC and MSF testified before the UN Security Council, outlining the Great Lakes situation and reminding the Council that humanitarian action cannot substitute for political initiatives. Throughout early March, MSF kept the pressure up by releasing press releases and statements, criticising the lack of access to the Kivus and the suffering there. On the 6th of March, MSF issued a press release that reported 4 in 10,000 people die every day in eastern Zaire due to insecurity, lack of access and lack of medical care. Those who fled Shabunda were still missing. On the 20th of March 1997, the Alliance authorised a 2-person evaluation mission to Masisi. The team from MSF Holland took a different road than the one indicated at the Alliance checkpoint. Local people told them of massacres, and local armed men forced the MSF team to go and see several mass graves, explaining that Alliance forces attacked them. On the 26th of March, another team from MSF Holland managed to join a UNHCR mission to Shabunda. The mission's aim was to identify transit points for the refugees, but in a village en route west, a priest told them that Alliance soldiers recently carried out massacres in the area. The Alliance was posted along the road to Shabunda, keeping watch on the forest and terrorising the population. In other places the mission stopped, local villagers described how soldiers killed refugees and Zairians who helped the refugees. Villagers asked the team how they could help the refugees, and the aid workers advised them to take the road to a specific MSF health station. When the team came back to the area a few days later, no refugees had come to the health station, but 5 Alliance soldiers were seen on the same path. The MSF team quickly realised that gathering information on the violence should now be their goal. However, a quote-unquote facilitator from the Alliance travelled with the mission and gave detailed reports to military personnel along the route. In one village, a UNHCR official distracted the facilitator, while the others on the mission discovered freshly dug graves with little crosses on them and photographed them. As they continued towards Shabunda, the team found more mass graves in several different places and noticed clothing scattered and strewn in trees. According to the UNHCR representative travelling with them, these were warning signs left by survivors to tell other refugees that massacres had taken place there. The Alliance constantly tried to delay the mission's journey by saying they did not have permission to be in the area, seemingly allowing the soldiers time to clean up evidence of massacres before the humanitarian workers arrived. When the team finally arrived in Shabunda, Rwandan and Zairian representatives of the Alliance's intelligence agency took them prisoner overnight, made veiled threats to kill them, and made it clear to the mission what they suspected already: that the Alliance were using NGOs to lure refugees out of the forests. On the 3rd of April, after a 9-day mission, the Shabunda exploratory team safely returned to South Kivu's regional capital, Bukavu. From the 11th to 14th of April, the MSF Holland administrator-logistician debriefed the teams in Bukavu and Amsterdam and wrote a report on the mission. It concluded that large-scale massacres of refugees had taken place in the Bukavu-Shabunda region by Alliance troops who'd used humanitarian organisations to lure refugees. It read, "We heard from both the local population and refugees alike that the military followed us. When we pass through, refugees hear that we are in the area, feel safe and emerge from the forest. The military who are following us then eliminate the refugees who have emerged from the forest." After discussing the findings with the wider team, those who went to Shabunda wanted to make the information public, while the rest of the team and headquarters felt that the information should be transmitted confidentially. The main concerns were that Alliance troops would target the village if it was named in the report. Plus, it might compromise the safety of MSF staff and the continuation of projects in Zaire. The preference was for MSF to continue its work in Zaire, even in a limited capacity. So the Shabunda report was sent to a select group of reporters, asking them not to cite MSF as the source. It condemned the killings committed by the Alliance and the use of humanitarian organisations as a lure to encourage refugees out of hiding. MSF teams in the field in the Great Lakes took security measures in case of any repercussions. The terrible conditions for the refugees trapped in eastern Zaire, the lack of food, water and healthcare, raised many questions among the MSF sections, including: given that MSF was being used to lure refugees from hiding, Should they stop activities in the area or pursue them, condemning manipulation in the hope of preventing further massacres? Or by doing this, did they run the risk of endangering MSF teams and other operations in the region? Should MSF call for the refugees to remain in eastern Zaire with its deadly dangers? Or participate in their forced repatriation to Rwanda, where their security was not guaranteed either?